Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back, brothers and sisters, joining us here on our live program, Huda Tonight. I'm your host for segment number 3. Brothers and sisters, it gives me a great pleasure to be your host, and I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make this program a beneficial program, a program that will be a good deed for us on the Day of Judgment. Brothers and sisters, here on segment number 3, we're going to be talking about a topic that really needs elaboration, and we really need to understand it and implement it, and that is unity. Unfortunately, brothers and sisters, we find ourselves divided across all different boundaries, be that through color, through language, or through the particular school of thought that you're following, or due to your political affiliations. We find ourselves divided. But yet, subhanAllah, we have one Quran, we have the final Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, and we believe in one God, but yet so divided. Why is that the case? And don't you agree with me that in this day and age, it's of paramount importance that we unite and come together and achieve our common goals in order to defend our rights and to prosper as a nation? I'm sure you do. So let's introduce our guest and then look at this very important topic. Begin from the right-hand side. We have with us Brother Ali. It's a pleasure to have you here again on segment number 3.
Thank you. My pleasure, Mr. Junaid.
I'd like to welcome you by giving you the Islamic greetings of Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And our second guest, we have with us Brother Lukman. Brother Lukman, it's an honor to have you on the program as well. I'd like to welcome you with the Islamic greetings of Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh.
Thank you very much. Let's begin with yourself, Brother Ali. Unity, it's extremely important, and it's a goal in and of itself. Can I ask you to just give us a very brief definition of what is unity and why do we need it?
Well, here you are, indicating to a very important factor of how a nation can prosper. It is like contradicting to see this kind of huge number of Muslim in the world. We are more than 2 billion Muslim in the world, more than 2 billion. But, we will see what is happening. It is, of course, a consequence of lack of unity. And this one is due to our deviation of a verse, a very important verse in Holy Quran, which says, وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا وَلَا تَفَرَّقُوا. Almighty Allah was asking us to, cling with the, line or with the realm of Almighty Allah, and that we must not disintegrate. Okay? In another verse, it says that, وَلَا تَنَازَعُوا فَلَا تَنَازَعُوا فَتَفْشَلُوا وَتَذْهَبَ رِيحُكُمْ. Do not argue or do not, disagree between yourselves. If you do that, or so doing is going to make you less influential. So the main point here is that the concept of unity in Islam is very, very important. When Prophet Muhammad, was sent after he migrated from Mecca to Medina, the first thing he did in Medina was trying to bring up a common background or a common platform between the Meccans and Medinans. He made the Meccans to be the brothers of Medinas and the Medinas to become the brothers of Mecca. And by that, they formed a nation. So if we go in, yes, of course, you cannot say that people must agree in one point of view or in another point of view. There were so many points of view. Even during the life of Prophet Muhammad, among the companions of Prophet Muhammad, they used to have different point of view, but nevertheless, they used to sit in front of Prophet Muhammad. They eat together, they greet each other, they used to go to battle together. They did everything together. There was a time when Prophet Muhammad asked his companion, none of you should pray la yusalliyanna ahadukum al-asra illa fi bani Qurayza. None of you should pray al-asr until you reach Bani Qurayza. The companions among themselves, misunderstood or understood the hadith differently. Ibn Abbas and some of companions say that Prophet Muhammad meant that we should go quickly, we should hasten to go there. While Ibn Mas'ud and some of the companions say that no, Prophet Muhammad meant that we must not pray until we reach there. You see, they misunderstood or they disagreed on understanding prophetic tradition. Nevertheless, they remain together. Okay. So we have to, come together and unite. When we unite, we can definitely prosper. And that will be the secret of our prosperity.
Okay, thank you very much, Brother Ali, for that fantastic introduction. Brother Lukman, Now, we understand obviously the fruits of being united, but what does the Quran and what does the Sunnah actually tell us about unity?
Okay, that's very important question when we are talking about unity. If we look at what the Quranic verses say about the unity, actually the Quranic verses said that actually mankind was one nation, and then they differ, and then they were divided into several nations. Some of them believe in Allah, some of them didn't believe in Allah. And then Allah sent the messengers to every nation in order to invite them back to the one religion. In Islam, actually, past nation was on the unity. They were worshipping one God. They were one nation. This is what Al-Quran said. That is why we find the Quranic verses that says, وَمَا كَانَ النَّاسُ إِلَّا أُمَّةً وَاحِدَةً فَاخْتَلَفُوا. The mankind were one and then they differ. So if we look at in this verse, we know that actually this nation was one and then they differ. And then Allah sent for every nation a messenger calling them back to this unity. If we look at the teaching of the prophet that the prophet brought, actually the prophet tried to unite all people regardless their nation, their races, their colors, their ethnical background, and so far and so on, in the under umbrella of Islam. Islam is the religion that tried to unite all people to one religion, to the one messenger, to the one book. And you know that if you look at the last sermon of the prophet, what we call as Khutbatul Wada, when the prophet was addressing to all people regardless to their backgrounds.
Okay.
The prophet said, La fadla li Arabiyyin ala a'jamiyyin wala a'jamiyyin li Arabiyyin wala li abyado ala al-aswada wala li aswada lil abyado illa bit taqwa. An Arab has no any superiority over non-Arab, and also non-Arab has no any superiority over an Arab, and the white people has no superiority over black people, and also a black people have no superiority over white people except by taqwa. So if you look at this message, you will know that Islam, according to Islam, all people are equal. All people are equal in front of Allah, regardless your nationalities, your colors, your ethnical background, and so far and so on. Unfortunately, we as Muslims right now we are divided into several groups, several school of thought, and every group claims that they are on the right path, and another group are in the false path. So I mean, it is very important point that we can elaborate, we can talk in more deeply in this. I mean, in this program, I think.
Let's get Brother Ali involved here. So we've talked about the importance of unity. We've talked about, Lukman explained to us very accurately that the Quran, Allah orders us to be united, but we are not, and that is the reality. So, Brother Ali, what are the reasons to why we are so disunited?
I can allude to sentiment. You know, there is a kind of sentimentalism. If you believe that what you owe, what you have is the one which is right, and you are else or someone else is not right by hook or crook, this will be the beginning of an end to any unity. If you look at the time of Prophet Muhammad, when Salman al-Farisi was not an Arab, he was from a Persian area. When you see a Suhaib Rumi, Suhaib was from Rome, was from Europe. When you see Bilal bin Rabah from Ethiopia, from Africa, Okay, when you see Umar bin al-Khattab, Quraysh, or Ali bin Abi Talib, all of them unanimously came together under the same thing, the same mission, and that's why they succeeded. So the reason why someone is going to cling with his opinion, say that my opinion must be the one to be imposed to all people, this will be like, the coffin or nailing the coffin of unity or of any prosperity. Imam Shafi'i has a very important quote which he says, my opinion is right and it might be wrong. And your opinion, he's talking about his opponent, he said your opinion is wrong but could be right while mine could be wrong. This shows, kind of flexibility on the fact that you see how vast educated was Imam Shafi'i. You see how erudite was he. But when he was in Syria, when he was in Damascus, he had a different point of view. But when he traveled back to Egypt, he changed his opinions from what he used to have in Damascus, in Syria, after he came to Egypt to have different point of view. This one shows the flexibility. We've just talked about Umar bin al-Khattab. When he used to have opinions, he said that I will do that. When someone would tell him, no, you have to do this, then he will think twice and he will think otherwise and finally relinquish to the other's opinion.
Okay.
This is what Islam is talking about, and that's why the principle of reasoning, the principle of argument was very imperative in Islam.
Okay.
Islam says that وَلَا تُجَادِلُوا أَهْلَ الْكِتَابِ إِلَّا بِالَّتِي هِيَ أَحْسَنُ, or in another verse, وَجَادِلْهُمْ أُدْعُ إِلَى سَبِيلِ رَبِّكَ بِالْحِكْمَةِ وَالْمَوْعِظَةِ الْحَسَنَةِ وَجَادِلْهُمْ بِالَّتِي هِيَ أَحْسَنُ. You can argue people in what is right. The essence of argument is in order to have a common ground, but by listening to each other and by convincing each other, not by force or by, compelling people to do something out of their will. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much for that. Brothers, we're going to move over to a very short report talking about unity, and then when we come back, inshallah, Lukman, we'll continue with our discussion. Brothers and sisters, let's move over to a very short report talking about this Islamic principle of unity. Let's watch this together, and then when we come back, inshallah ta'ala, we will continue with the remaining part of our program. So I'll see you in just a few moments.
People talk about unity. We talk about unity. We say, Ihdinas, what is unity? What? My brother, let me tell you something honestly, and please give me your heart. If you think that unity is all praying in the one masjid, following the one madhab, praying behind the one sheikh, all of us holding hands at the end singing Kumbaya, you got a whole thing coming. Unity in the ummah is when I love my brother regardless what sheikh he follows, regardless what madhab he follows, regardless whether he follows mood sighting or calculations. I couldn't care less. I love him because of the kalima of La ilaha illallah in his heart. And that bond has made us brothers for life. And I cry for him. I bleed for him. I pray for him. Ihdina, Allah, guide us, man, guide us, guide the ummah of Muhammad, bring us back. Bring us back. Today we're so caught up with our differences. Brother, have you forgotten the 1 million things we have in common? Have you honestly forgotten? We're so caught up in these trivial things. Abu Bakr and Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu, the best friends of Rasulullah, the best. Number 2 in Islam, right? They differed on almost on every matter. They almost had a difference of opinion. And we're not talking, should we paint the masjid red or white? We're not talking, look, what's your opinion? We're talking chalk and cheese. After the Battle of Badr, there was captives of war. So Rasulullah he didn't know what to do with them. So he called his Sahaba. He says, what do we do? So everyone gave his opinion. So he comes to his beloved Abu Bakr. He says to Abu Bakr, what do you think we should do with the captives of war? He says to the Prophet of Allah, here's what I think we should do. Islam is new, Islam is weak, Islam is fresh. And these people, we know them, their family. How about we ransom them, we sell them back to the people of Mecca, we sell them back and use that money to strengthen Islam and strengthen the army. Nice opinion. True? So he looks over to Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu. He says, oh, Umar, what do you think? He says, a Prophet of Allah, give the cousin of Ali to Ali and give the cousin of Umar to Umar, and let Ali and Umar slaughter his own cousin with his own hands. And let it be known to the world, and let it be known to the people of Mecca, and let it be known to Allah that nothing will ever stand between us and Allah. These are opinions. So Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he went with the opinion of Abu Bakr. The next day, Umar radiallahu anhu, he's coming to see his Habib. He finds Abu Bakr and Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam crying. So he says to them, what's happening? Why are you crying? Tell me so I can cry. Rasulullah says to Umar radiallahu ta'ala, he says, we were wrong. And Allah agreed with your opinion. Allah, not. He says, Allah brought down Quran to agree with you, Ya Umar. What did he do? I told you, brother, we're on the haq, khayye. Is that what he did? He started crying. He started to cry. My brothers, we are billions, man. We are what, 1.6, 1.7 billion. We've all got an opinion, man. We all have an opinion. But we are one ummah who follow one prophet, who have one qibla, who read one Quran, who worship one Allah. La ilaha illallah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back, brothers and sisters, after watching a very short report there talking about unity. And it's really, it's amazing, to say the least, that we have one book, we have one God, and we have one final prophet. Everything indicates to the oneness of us being, but yet we are so divided. So inshallah ta'ala, the aim of these programs is for us to really open our minds and open our hearts and to accept other people and try to be united. Now, let's come to Brother Lukman. So we know being unified is important, but what is this unification based upon?
To answer this question, we have to understand that actually there are three factors that unite Muslim. The first is the unity in their aqidah, unity in their creed. So as we just mentioned, that we have only one God, one messenger, and one book. So I think all Muslims believe in these principles. And in the second point is that unity in Sharia. We have 5 daily prayer. All of Muslims pray 5 times in every day. And then we have unity in our sources. As we know that our sources in Islam are the Quran and Sunnah. So whenever we have different among us, we have to we have to come back to our sources, that is Quran and Sunnah. In fact, the Quran said, فَإِن تَنَزَعْتُمْ فِي شَيْءٍ فَرُدُّوهُ إِلَى اللَّهِ وَرَسُولِ. If you differ among yours, you have to refer it back to the Quran and Sunnah. إِن كُنْتُمْ تُؤْمِنُونَ بِاللَّهِ wal yawmil akhir, if you believe in Allah, if you believe in the hereafter. So Al-Quran and the Sunnah are our sources. Whenever we as Muslim have many differences, have conflict, for instance, we have to refer and we have to come back to our sources, Al-Quran and Sunnah, who will judge us. As our brother said, actually Islam is very beautiful religion. If we are talking about Islam in the early time, as our brother said, that there are many companions who are not Arab who contributed to this religion, and there are 3 Sahaba that our brother just mentioned. And also, if you look at in the time of golden age in Islam, in which Islamic scholarship was flourishing, we have many scholars who were not Arab. Like most of the scholars of Hadith, we have Imam Muslim, we have Imam Bukhari, we have Imam Turmudi, who were not Arab. And also, if you look at that, we have many Muslim scientists like Al-Farabi, Ibn Sina, they were not Arab. Imam Abu Hanifa, the first founder of Sunni school of thought, he was Persian, he was not Arab. And also, if you know that we have in Basra, we have two schools of Arabic language. In Nahwu, we call it in Arabic tradition Nahwu. We have Sibawi, who was the leading founder of school of Basra. He was Persian. And also we have the founder of school of Kufa. He was Al-Kisai. He was Persian also. So in Nahwu we have 2 schools, and their leaders were not Arab. So you can look at that our scholar, although many of them were not Arab, they contributed to the development and scholarship from this ummah, because Islam didn't differentiate whether you are Arab or not. We are just united in the belief in Allah, in one messenger, in one holy book. This is the important point that we should understand.
Excellent, thank you very much. So we're saying that here, that unity is based on fundamentally the Tawheed of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but the oneness of Allah.
Absolutely, definitely.
Okay, thank you very much. Brother Ali, let's now come back to reality and look at the ground. So many problems and so much discord amongst Muslims. Can you tell us in some ways on how we can get or become united?
Well, actually, see, to unite or to agree to disagree is very important. We need to agree to disagree, because Almighty Allah said, وَمَا كَانَ وَلَوْ شَاءَ رَبُّكَ لَجَعَلَ النَّاسُ أُمَّةً وَاحِدًا. If Almighty Allah had wished, He would have made people to become united. But they will remain in different perspectives, in different points of view, because this is their nature. This is how He wished to see them. So being you from a different country of mine, and being brother Lukman from another country, we are now 3 here, and 3 of us are not from the same country. And by mere looking to brother Junaid, I can trace to the fact that he belongs to a particular country. And by mere looking to me, he would know that I belong to a particular country. And likewise, if I look at
3 different continents.
Exactly. But we belong to one umbrella. The umbrella of the fact that we worship one Almighty God. And we were created by Him. And He made us into these different nations, not for anything, but He said, لِتَعَارَفُوا, for you to know each other. And that's why we know ourselves. Therefore, being different is a virtue. It's a virtue on the fact that I can distinguish this from that. And I can distinguish something which is good and something which is bad. Okay, this is number one. Number two, one of the consequences of being different, which is unnecessarily different, is the fact that no matter how huge number you are, you will become very, very weak. Because if you agree on, being in one point of view, you will be cooperating, you will be in coexistence, you will be helping each other. But if you disagree, no matter how big number you are, you're going to collapse because your enemies are going to find a way to, disintegrate you. Let me set an example. There are certain, different schools of, thoughts, even in Islam. Okay? During Imam Imam Malik time, he used to have a student. The student of Imam Malik is Imam Shafi'i. Imam Shafi'i learned from Imam Malik. But he did not compel himself, or he did not compel his conscience to become a Maliki. Even though if you ask him, he is full of respect of Imam Malik, but he did not compel himself to say that I will be, abiding by the whole laws or by the whole thoughts of Imam Malik,
right,
and so on and so forth. So, you can be different of my point of view, but yet we are still encapsulated under one Almighty Allah to whom we worship, and we are united under the same book, Holy Quran, and we are united on one prophet, Prophet Muhammad. We are united on, that's why according to Ibn Kathir said one of the secrets of praying together in congregation, a hadith of Prophet Muhammad said that praying in congregation is far better than praying alone with 27 reward. The secret according to Ibn Kathir is that the concept of unity.
Okay.
Because when you pray together in congregation, you are praying behind one imam, one leader who is bowing when he pray, when he did takbir, you're going to do takbir, and so on and so forth. The concept of unity, the concept of leadership, the concept of abiding by the rule of one leader. Excellent. This is the secret of success.
So your secret here is appreciation of diversity, and not falling into the traps of our
diversity in unity.
In
exactly.
unity. Okay.
Exactly.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Brother Lukman, if I can pose you the same question, and on that we will conclude our program. Could you give me some of your thoughts and ideas on how we could become united in all the problems that we are facing?
Actually, right now we have the problem and challenges why we are not united. We have sort of fanaticism. If we are fanatic to school of thought, for instance, and we don't have any tolerance to other opinion, point of view, I mean, it's very dangerous for our unity. If we try to look at, our scholars in the past and also in the present, although they had difference in many points, they were still working together. For instance, when Al-Imam Abu Hanifa, one day Al-Imam Al-Shafi'i visited the grave of Abu Hanifa, and the student of Abu Hanifa know that there was famous Imam, that is Imam Shafi'i, and they led Al-Imam Shafi'i to lead the prayer in the Subh prayer. And when Imam Ash-Shafi'i was leading Subh prayer, Imam Shafi'i didn't recite Al-Qunut, special dua that recite in Subh prayer. When Al-Imam Shafi'i finished his leading of prayer, many students of Imam Abu Hanifa asked, "Oh Imam, why didn't you recite the Qunut? As we know that you said that Qunut is highly recommended when we are trying the Subh prayer. Why didn't you recite the Qunut?" And Imam Shafi'i said, "Because I appreciate the honor of this grave, the honor of this mosque." As Imam Abu Hanifa said that Qunut in prayer Subuh was not recommended. Okay. So I have to respect his opinions. and I have to respect his opinions. So I think it is very, very important example that our scholar, although they had many differences, they still respect to each other.
Okay.
Right now, for instance, in my country, most of people are following the school of Shafi'i.
Okay.
If someone tries a subuh player and he doesn't recite kunut, many people will blame him.
Okay.
Why didn't you recite kunut? So because you know that most of them don't have understanding of proper Islam.
Okay.
They don't know that actually it is matter of ijtihad. As our brother said, that Imam Shafi'i used to say, Ra'yi sawab, my opinion is correct. Wa yakhtamilul khata, and it could be wrong.
Right.
And Ra'yu ghayri khata, and the opinions of others are false. Wa yahtamilu sawab, and it could be correct.
Okay.
So if you look at what Imam Shafi'i said, it's very interesting for us to learn tolerance, to learn how to respect others' opinions.
Okay, thank you very much, Brother Lukman. Brothers, unfortunately, we have come to the end of our program here on segment number 3, and I would like to begin by thanking you both, Brother Ali, with yourself and your contribution to the program. I'd like to thank you and conclude by saying Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And Brother Lukman, yourself, thank you very much for coming to the program and sharing with us your knowledge and your skills at the same time. And I conclude by saying Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It was my pleasure.
Thank you very much. Brothers and sisters, we have come to the end here of segment number 3, where we had to look at a very important subject, and that of unity. And we understand that this is an order from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Brothers and sisters, it's enough. We have had enough fighting and bickering. Let's put all these things to the side and let's unite, inshallah ta'ala. Let's have work, and let's work together so that we can achieve our Islamic principles, Islamic goals, and that we can protect ourselves from the plots of our enemies. And I'll conclude by giving to you a proverb from amongst those that have caused division amongst our communities, and that is, united we stand and divided we fall. Thank you very much, Brother Ali. So here we see that the enemies here, they divide us and make us weak so that they can take advantage of our situation. So brothers and sisters, do take these as benefits and do try to unite and come together. We will conclude there, and I thank you all for tuning in for segment number 2 and segment number 3. And inshallah ta'ala, I will see you here at the same time, at the same place tomorrow, inshallah ta'ala. So, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.